How you doing, everyone? And welcome to this episode of the Isaac Hayes Show, where we talk about life, we talk about liberty, and yes, we talk about the pursuit of happiness. And ladies and gentlemen, I've been following politics for a very, very long time. And what I have seen on Sunday afternoon, I'm telling you, I've never seen anything like this. On Sunday afternoon, once again, President Donald Trump survived another assassination attempt within 2 months of the last one that happened in Pennsylvania, which was a lot more severe than this one. As we know now from Fox News and other outlets, Donald Trump was playing golf, having a good time, and his Secret Service detail saw something in the bushes. Gunshots were exchanged, and Donald Trump went into hiding, and the Secret Service had to go ahead and look for the assassin. And the assassin's name, I don't normally do this, but I'm going to mention his name for the sake of what we're talking about today on this Monday morning. Ryan Wesley Roth. I hope I'm saying that name right. But yes, a 58-year-old man is accused of pointing an AK-47 to former President Donald Trump. Just a sad day. And look, to help me talk about this, I'm going to go ahead and bring in my good friend. He is the St. Martin Parish RPEC chairman, or the Republican Parish chairman, and also the host of the Kelby and Jeau Show, now on Spotify, now on YouTube, and all your platforms, Mr. Kelby Dago. Kelby, what's happening, man? And just before we start, tell me, your initial thoughts when you first heard the news.
Well, thank you for having me. I wish it was on better circumstances.
Yes.
I mean, it's just unbelievable. It's unreal that this is happening yet again to the same person, the same, nominee for president. It is, you really just, I'm lost for words, to be honest with you, that this can almost happen yet again. And they did a good job. I will say this, they saw the barrel of the gun, but how is this happening again? That's just my question. How did this guy know that former President Trump will be at that golf course when it was not a public event? It was not on his public schedule. How did he know that?
Well,
that's
the
crazy thing.
Charlie Kirk went live at the time of this recording, and he asked the same question. How did this man know what was going on? What happened? How did he get this information to say, look, Donald Trump's going to be playing this weekend? Did he, scope it out? Did he, what information does this individual have? And what else is leaking?
Yeah, and I don't know if it's leaking or not, but I find it very interesting, and we're going to get a lot of details. I know the Republican or the House of Representatives are going to be looking into this also. They were looking into the previous assassination attempt of former President Trump. It's just a sad day in America when our politics come to this, where we hate somebody so much, we disagree with somebody so much, we want to kill them.
Well, and Kelby,
that I don't understand. I really don't, because I've been following this stuff a very long time too. I've been involved in politics, both as a official and as somebody who does work behind the scenes, and I have never hated my opponent so much that I wanted them dead. Never.
The Republican Party, Kelby, talking about that, is the party that, I'm going to use Donald Trump, for example, when he first ran against Hillary. Lock her up. Everybody, you see, he's going after his political opponent. Yeah. He did not even go after her for the 4 years. But we have somebody in the Justice that is running the Justice Department around that has been going after him for the last couple of years. And, I know we view differently on that, but it's coming from the Justice Department. It's coming from somebody. And Kelby, I want to play this clip because I want to ask you a question on this. Donald Trump said this in the debate the other day, and that's the first thing I thought of when he talked about political rhetoric and the Biden administration. Watch this.
This is the one that weaponized, not me. She weaponized. I probably took a bullet to the head because of the things that they say about me. They talk about democracy. I'm a threat to democracy. They're the threat to democracy with a fake Russia investigation that went nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that there's a lot of rhetoric on the left side that compares him to Hitler, compares him to Mussolini, compares him to Kim Jong-un, and all these horrible people. And I think that is dangerous. Now, he says some things too. I mean, calls Kamala Harris a communist, and people on the Republican side who are deranged can certainly take that and say, oh, well, we have to go ahead and do something. Just like maybe somebody on their side that is deranged, that when you're getting compared to Hitler and everything, they would say, oh, well, we got to go take this man out. He's horrible. He's a Hitler. Everybody needs to it's up here, probably higher, but they need to take it way, way, way down. We just had an anniversary of 9/11 where we were all united and horrible stuff happened September 11th. We need to get back to unity in some shape or form. And to be honest with you, Isaac, nobody is innocent. You have the right and the left. They're not innocent. There are extremes on both parties, on both sides, who are the loudest ones in the room, and everybody in the center are just, wow, that's crazy. Oh, that's even more crazy. You're just stuck in the middle. And it really is unfortunate. Like I said, when the politics escalates that much, just think about it. We've had 2 attempted assassinations in one election cycle.
Right.
Keep that in mind, how insane that is.
Well, let's look at this. Let's look at this. And his son is running, and his nephew was running. Well, he was running. Robert Kennedy Jr. JFK got shot, I think, in 63, 64, somewhere around there. That was coming up to an election cycle. His dad, I believe, got shot around 68, 69, whatever that election cycle was coming. That was 2 election cycles. Like you said, 2 assassination attempts on the same person within a 2-month span. Kelby, I told somebody that earlier. I never ever seen this. And look, we're younger to a lot of other people that have been watching this for years. But look, I got into politics when I was when I got in my teenage years, when I was 13, maybe younger. I've never ever seen it like this. I've never seen where a political party would go ahead and look, I'm saying political party. Because the 2 individuals.
I mean, Kamala Harris is not.
Yeah,
she's not encouraging anybody to kill anybody.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Now they do say some crazy things. Don't get me wrong.
That's what I'm going to the point.
With the Republicans. Yeah, but you're right. No one is encouraging that, and I don't think Kamala Harris would even think about. She wouldn't think about encouraging. That could happen to her too.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
People, and I'm sure they get death threats all the time on that side, just as much as, it can happen to her too. But I want to say this, that is the same administration who you were referring to, RFK Jr. earlier. They denied him Secret Service protection for the longest.
And they didn't give it to him until after the Trump assassination 2 months ago.
Right, because they were like, well, if something happens to him.
And look,
he repeats himself, like he.
A lot of people don't say this too, Kelby. Before they gave him that Secret Service detail, he had 2 potential assassination attempts on his life as well. And he's bringing this to the Biden-Harris administration and saying, look, I'm in danger of my life. Oh, you're not that high of a threat.
Yeah.
You're running for president of the United States. And look, I understand, Jill Stein and some other ones that are on there that I don't know. I looked at my ballot and I'm like, who the heck is these people? But okay, I can understand that. Somebody that's not known or don't have that high of a threat, yeah, I understand, hey, we're not going to give. But RFK, by the time when he pulled out, was close to 10%, a little under.
No, RFK was like at 5%. But regardless, I mean, he
played a significant role, though.
Look, if he would have been endorsing or been friendly with the Biden people, he'd have got it. There's just no ifs and buts about that.
I agree with you.
But going back to that, it's unprecedented that this is actually happening in America, where everybody excuse me, since the Kennedy assassination, the presidents are untouchable And
That's
you
not true.
can't, the Secret Service will never let something happen. And then we find out in Pennsylvania that in Butler, Pennsylvania, that okay, well, the former president certainly is touchable. I mean, a bullet touched his ear and then killed somebody in the audience, and
hurt two others.
And then tonight or Sunday, this is happening yet again, a lot less severe, thankfully.
Yep.
And the Secret Service and the FBI, everybody seemed to be more proactive. You talk about an eagle eye on whoever noticed that that barrel sticking out of the wood, by the brush at the golf course that happened, Sunday. It's just, look, I'm predicting, unfortunately, just because this is what the reality, I wouldn't be surprised if this happens a third time before the election. This is probably going to happen again. And
his risk level is high.
He better just go hide, and do everything from Zoom. I don't trust none of these people. I don't trust Secret Service. I don't trust them all. Well,
and
I don't think you should either.
Let's go with this though too. Let's go with your point. All right. First off, this is Trump's international golf course in West Palm Beach. Okay, this should have been high alert. This guy got in within 300 to 500 yards of the president of the United States. Butler, Pennsylvania, was 130 yards, not as close. But you're telling me, Kelby, and look, I listen to pundits, I listen to Secret Service. Dan Bongino probably went off on this with his radio program.
Yeah, I want to see. I can't wait to hear because they usually don't listen to that, but I want to hear what he has to say on Monday.
With the Butler, Pennsylvania incident, he said they were supposed to square that off at 1,000 yards. You're telling me that a man with a rifle can get at least 500 yards from the former president of the United States. Now, the sheriff of West Palm Beach, in his press conference that we watched on Sunday, made a comment, well, Trump is just a candidate, and that's why his Secret Service is not as intense as the president and the vice president. This is a former president of the United States. That's just not he's a candidate, but he should already have a detail there. This is the second time, and God forbid that something would happen to him again, Kelby. This is ridiculous.
He's not only the former president; he's very much could be the next president. People got to keep that in mind as well.
Polls are neck and neck. They're within the margin of error on both sides.
Yeah, but regardless, I mean, I think you still have to protect people who decided to say, you know what, I'm going to sign up for this. I'm going to run for president. And because, everybody's like, run for president, start young and run for every office that there is and be president. And that's like the one job I would never want, because the simple fact is your life never resumes to normal. It never goes back to normal. Your life is always different. People always trying to kill you. People always trying to.
They always hating you.
Take a picture of you. You have to have security all the time. You can't drive again. You just never go back to normal. And I think if you're signing up for that, to serve our country in that capacity and to never have a normal life again, that's the last thing we should do as a government, is protect you and keep you alive until you die naturally. Okay. And I think that is just unfortunate. It just makes me wonder, okay, if this can happen to Trump, well, then what's happening to Bill Clinton and Jimmy Carter and Bush?
Obama.
Like, what are their details like? Because if it's happening to this guy, then what's happening to them? And are they protected too? To be honest with you, I mean, I don't even know. Trump was just the most recent one. Jimmy Carter hadn't been president in over 30 years probably. So, what is going on at the Secret Service? Why can't we can spend money on everything else. We spend money on, sex changes and, you name it. Why can't we spend money to protect people who, serve their country in that capacity.
And you know
that their life will never be normal again.
And you know the Secret Service, they have money.
Yeah,
they have money.
The government has money. I mean, they have a printer.
They call the Federal Reserve and say, "Hey, give us $100-something million," and they give it to whatever
that's
the billion.
Money. I mean, that's fine. The American people pay for it. When they pay $10 for bread.
Yeah. Now the shooter Ryan Wesley Roth, he was 58 years old. First report said it was a mid-60s-year-old guy. Again, props to the Secret Service because he was 500 yards away and 300 to 500 yards away. Secret Service saw him. He has a long rap sheet of arrests that span over several decades. But 58 years old, Kelby. Look, okay. I mentioned Charlie Kirk earlier, and I watched some of his videos on TikTok and all that stuff. By the way, go check out the Isaac Hayes Show and the Kelby and Jeau Show on TikTok. They have these young people, they're deranged. Unfortunately, you think somebody young and stupid would do something like that. But a 58-year-old man, and the last shooter, I don't remember what his age was, whatever, but an older gentleman, man, and I'm just
it would just goes to show you anybody can be crazy.
Anybody.
We very much have a mental health problem in this country that needs to be addressed, and it could be anybody. People are motivated negatively, derangedly by we don't know, and I'm very curious because they're going to comb everything in his life. It's the same thing when people shoot up schools. You don't understand that. You don't understand why would you do something like that. It's just people are sick. We live in a sick time. We live in a time where we have decaying values. We have, morals. People do and see things on social media. Everybody has a phone that has. You have access to things you didn't have access to 10 years ago. You know how much. You know what kind of venom on social media and on these websites. There's so many things out there that is not mainstream. It's underground. It's, anywhere from QAnon, and I'm sure there's some liberal leftist QAnon stuff on their side, whatever that'll be.
They call it The View, by the way. I'm just saying.
What's that?
They call it The View, by the way.
Well, but anyway,
right.
There are some things that will motivate people that could be 100% false and made up, and they just take it at face value and they run with it. And we have to have a conversation, I think, and I'm not for censoring anything, but to me, you have to go and find these websites and pull them down, and these social media pages and pull them down, because it is really crazy. I mean, I've had people say, "Oh, I heard this, JFK was coming back to life in Dallas. He was not dead. It was all a hoax." Someone actually told me that. And I just looked at him and I was like, well,
But you see, this is where I come to
the close now, because I'm not going to engage. And you obviously the person is ridiculous.
Well, and this is where I'm going to come with that point, okay? And let's go with this because of the rhetoric. And we mentioned it earlier. It's done on both sides, left and right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this is what, a lot of people will accuse me, and look, you text me about this and say, boy, TikTok's rough. Yeah, it's rough. But, TikTok, I get this all the time. You're spreading false information. You're spreading this. And Kelby, you know me. You've heard my show. You've been a guest on the show before. You know that I really dive into my stories. I try to pull the most recent articles I can find, try to get something that I know is true. That's what people need to do. Okay, look. Our shows, we try to be as accurate as possible. But like you said, there is somebody out there with a podcast that is throwing some weird ideas out there. Yeah. I don't think they should be pulled up. But at the same time, the listener or the reader needs to do the job and go check out. Look, I played the clip of the debate earlier. And you had Kamala Harris, correction. I know that gets under your skin. I'm not trying to mispronounce her name. It's just I don't know what to call her no more.
That's none of my business. I mean, I just think, we have to This, if that's the way it's pronounced, that's the way it's pronounced.
Well, and going back to that though,
Vice President Harris, in a
Vice
sense,
President Harris, yeah.
But no, I mean, I get on my skin. It's just, what I would hate is for someone to be like, "Oh no, Isaac, it's Kamala," and correct you like, I just, I don't want people to be corrected and be embarrassed.
But
because why are you not saying her name right? Are you racist? I don't want you to be in that position.
Yeah, well, but like I said though, I have a whole minute and a half montage I could find where the left was calling her the same name, and then all of a sudden it had to be changed. But going back to the point though, Vice President Harris on the debate stage lied. Now this is according to Mark Levin, and Mark Levin, the great one, is one of our great, I guess you could say our, how can I say?
Wait, he was the original Never Trumper.
Right. So, but going to this, Mark Levin, he's our, not our guru. I won't want to say it like that. Our mentor, I guess you could say. Someone could we both admire Mark Levin.
I used to, but anyway.
But Mark Levin went ahead and made a statement over 25 times. Vice President Harris lied on that stage. She brought out Charlottesville. She brought out the bloodbath. She brought out all this stuff. And, people are listening to her and are thinking, oh, Donald Trump's lying. She lied all that time, and nobody corrected her on that. And, this is my problem. And I'm going to go back to TikTok because I've had a lot of TikTok lives where I have debated people. They will listen to that and take that as gospel. They will not do the research that needs to be done to see if she's lying or not. If more people would go ahead and research Harris and Trump, I think we would see who tells more lies than what. Now, don't get me wrong. Look, I say that. I don't hide that on the show. My listeners are going to agree with me. I don't say Donald Trump's the second coming. I'm not saying Donald Trump don't mess up. Donald Trump don't lie. He's a politician.
Oh no, there's nobody lies better than him, and quite honestly, her. And I don't even know if you'd call it. Kamala Harris is in this alternative universe, and she is helping, and ABC News helped her create that alternative universe. She wasn't for this, now she's for this. She said on tape everything that she was for, running for president 2020. And fracking is one of them. She was against fracking, period, was going to stop it. And to be honest with you, she and Biden put drilling moratoriums in the Gulf week one, and no drilling on public land. Almost can't drill anywhere in Alaska.
Yep.
So while our allies and our enemies, they're drilling away. We're losing our competitive edge to some of those people because the green agenda, the climate change, Green New Deal bullshit. So that she's a liar. Trump is, Trump's definitely a liar, but I think Trump exaggerates and inflates stuff to make it sound more, important or exuberant than it actually is. But yeah, he was fact checked more than her. I don't think she was fact checked at all. David Muir, who anchors their nightly news, by the way, inserted himself and said, well, no, I saw your video and you didn't seem like you were being sarcastic. The bottom line is I don't even know why he asked that question, because on January 6th, if you look at the video, Trump conceded the election to Joe Biden. On January 6th, he said, we lost, transfer of power. That I saw that with my own two eyes. So I don't even know why you would continue. Trump has obviously put that old tired, he's lost the election because it was stolen. He actually won that old tired stuff. But certainly the debate was unfair. And, people saw that, and it also could be a copycat too. That guy could have said, well, that kid didn't finish the job, I'm going to finish the job.
Well, you remember after Butler, that was one of the things that the Secret Service was saying. Let's hope there isn't a copycat out there. Let's hope there ain't somebody that says, well, he didn't do the job, I think I could have done better, and run and try to do it. And look, going back to the security though, two people got in with a maximum of 500 yards to Trump.
Yeah.
And you know,
and that's actually a far distance, but with the scope,
it's not. You know, it depends on the round.
It's much different with the scope.
Because look, I'm gonna say this, and look, I know it was a dot scope or a red dot, and I saw videos on it. They explaining it how this could not be rigged. Which there's people that are talking about this now. Oh, this was all staged. You know, a 5.56 round or a 2.23. They're mostly they're both probably the same thing, off by a speck or two. That's a big round, Kelby.
Yeah.
That's a big. I don't know if you hunt or what, but I've sold 5.56. I sold 2.23 rounds when I worked at a sporting goods store here in Lafayette, Louisiana. Just, you know, dude, that is they could be clipped by the ear.
Are people saying that he rigged this and make it look?
Yeah, so there was one. This was all, of course, TikTok, going on TikTok lives and trying to see. There was several people in this chat that I was watching. The first thing out of their mouth was, "Oh, this was staged just like the last one." Look, going back to false information and not going back.
I'm gonna tell you this as somebody who works behind the scenes in politics. That's something you would see in the movies. That's something you would see on Scandal, right? You remember Scandal? You ever watch Scandal? Yeah, it's something you'd see there. That would not happen in real life.
No. Especially
somebody's, got shot in the head. If that was staged and Trump would not, it's too risky, right? Because what if, how could you say, move? How would he move? It's just insane to even think about that.
If you watch the video, just that slight turn it changed his life. Basically, he was looking at the crowd and he turned that quick second, and that's when the shot was fired. If he wouldn't have turned that quick second, we would probably have J.D. Vance running as president of the United States, and they would have had a funeral for Donald Trump. That's how close it is. And look,
and honestly, I just think people better brace themselves for the worst. And there's got to be a reason why they don't want this guy to be president again. I'm not into conspiracies and all this stuff, but something is going on. I don't know what it is. They don't want him to be president. Look, they turn this never Trumper into, or never Trumper again, or whatever the hell they were calling it, into, whenever early voting starts, that's the first thing I'm going to do is we have to vote, we have to win, and we have to beat these people. Otherwise, we are rubber stamping and allowing this to be normal. And this is not normal. It is not normal to elect a person who doesn't know what day it is, doesn't know where he's at, and that's still the president of the United States, by the way, is confused and has something wrong with him. Clearly. That is not normal. And then once people realize, okay, that is not normal, then we got to go put Kamala Harris in there, who, to be honest with you, will be just like Biden, will have the handlers, make all her policy and actually run the government. Right now, who's running the government's unelected bureaucrats and unelected political appointees. That's who's running the White House, and that's who's running Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. There's nothing that they do that hasn't been written down for them on a piece of paper or on an index card. Sit down. They'd even tell them, sit down, how to sit down, where to look. That is not normal, and we cannot normalize stuff like that.
And you're talking about normal. Look, and I have my theories, okay? I have my theories. And I'm going to hold them off until, I could. But I agree with you. There's a reason why they're targeting this man. And look, Trump said he's not giving up. He made a statement a few minutes ago. But Kelby, like you said, this is going out of line. But I agree with you. Okay, let's use Harris for example. She did that debate. The first question was, "Hey, are we better off 4 years now? Were we all better than we were 4 years ago?" And she starts out, "Well, I grew up in this and this and this." And then she has a solo interview, not with CNN, not with NBC, not with Fox News, not with somebody that would watch this, a local anchor at a ABC news station. And he asks a simple question. Hey, you're talking about helping the middle class here. How are you specifically going to do that? And the first words out of her mouth is, well, I grew up in this town, and we didn't ask you where you grew up on.
Points, yeah. And look, she's rehearsed them not so well because, I mean, she delivers them like she's, a robot. And I find the question on tariffs, which I think was a pretty good follow-up question by ABC News, the moderators, and she didn't have a clue about what she was talking about. She ran away from the topic because Trump said y'all kept them, so they must have did something right. And she just ran away from it and didn't know, how to answer it. I don't even know if she knows what a tariff is. Look, I mean, the only reason why I know what a tariff is because I went to, I took a few business classes in college. That's the only reason why I know what that means. But it's just insane where we've come in politics and how our leaders, the bar is just so low. I don't know who started it. I kind of want us to get back to normal on both sides, right? You have the progressives and the populist right-wing Republicans, and that's just what's going on right now. And then you have the moderate Democrats and you have the moderate Republicans are real conservatives, and it's just, in the middle. And that's who people need to talk to who are running for office, but they're just keeping the bases happy. The same thing, what's up with this stuff about eating dogs and cats? What the hell is that about?
Let's just say if Alf was a real alien or a real person, he would be happy today. He'd be going to Springfield because they all eating dogs and cats.
Okay, but do you think that needs to be in the national conversation?
It did not need to be in the national conversation. I know what Trump was trying to do in that he was trying to talk about the immigration problem in Springfield, Ohio. And look, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm laughing at all the little videos and all the memes.
Here's the deal,
but he shouldn't. I don't think that should have been brought up.
From a campaign standpoint, though, Trump's gonna win Ohio. He needs to be talking about the border problem in Yuma, Arizona, and in Texas. That's where he needs to talk about the border problem. Okay, because it ain't looking too hot for him in Arizona right now, and Texas is always starting to be a nail biter. On federal races. So that's where I would have put the focus. In the overflow at the border, I would have talked about, eating cats and dogs.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree with you. It just, when he said it, I'm like,
I haven't even heard about that. I mean, that's also another thing. And the part that if you have to clean it up, then that means it wasn't an effective.
And look, don't get me wrong. It was in the news somewhat. They did have some stories here. No, I don't know about Breitbart. I never seen it. And look, I'm gonna give a shout out to Dr. Michael Swartz from the Dr. Michael Swartz Show. He came across and he just briefly brought it up. They're saying something about he talked about what he showed it wasn't the video of people on the street, hey, they eat my dogs and cats. He was showing a town hall meeting and he brought it out as for the problem with the border and the immigrants that were coming into a town that was 60,000. They brought 20,000 immigrants there. And he said, and he made the comment, well, look, some are saying they're eating dogs. I don't know if that's true. And he made that comment. By golly, Trump mentions it in the comments in the debate, and now it's a national headline. And a lot of people, and that's what makes Trump looks bad. And look, I understand probably Trump's position. You have two moderators that are very aggressive to you. Then you have Harris on this side, even with the mic muted, still muffling to where point he's like, look, shut up. And I understand his point. He the first thing popped in his head, which he should have checked. I agree with you on that. And it's going to that point though of the rhetoric in this debate and the rhetoric that is in the campaigns. I just what gets me, Kelby, 2 months ago we had the same conversation about not on air, but everybody was talking about the rhetoric and it needed to be calmed down. And this is what I thought about this, and I'm thinking the same way right now because Biden come out and condemned it. Tim Walz came out and condemned it. I don't know. Maybe did Harris come out and condemn it? I'm assuming she did.
She made a statement.
So she made a statement.
She's been briefed on the situation, and political violence has no place in our.
So a typical statement from them. But the left would go ahead and tell us, hey, yeah, we have to tone down the rhetoric. It wasn't towards us though. I mean, it was towards us, not towards them. And dude, within 2 weeks, they started back with this stuff with Trump, and it never cooled down. Now, granted, Trump didn't cool down, but it needs to. The political violence needs to stop, dude. It
wasn't long until they just went right back to the attacks on both sides. I mean, I think Trump had the opportunity at the RNC convention to give a unifying speech, and I think I didn't watch it, but from what I could understand, he kind of rambled and went on for far too long.
He talked about his policies and everything, and look, compared to Harris's speech, he was very long. If I'm not mistaken, it was like an hour and a half. Yeah, and compared to Harris's 37,
because politics is all about optics, right? And I think they need to cut down those speeches, because if he goes on and on and on, and people are leaving the rallies, then that's going to look
it's going to look bad.
Even though there's a gazillion of them and all this stuff, and then that's where she kind of hit him, and she baited him.
She baited him
get into these, rabbit holes very successfully. And look, people, here's the deal. And this is what I want to tell everybody. Don't think you have it in the bag. Don't think Donald Trump's going to be the next president. You have to go vote. And you got to get about 10 people to go vote with you.
Yep.
And they're going to get 10 people to go vote with them. You have to go and vote. She very much can be the next president.
Well, and see, that's her thing too, though. I think she did that because, look, I know we were talking about the Trump assassination that happened on Sunday, but on that point with the debate, she was very cocky, like very cocky. The way she was doing her facial expressions, the way that
she reminded me very much, and I said this on my show, very much Hillary Clinton in 2016.
I agree with you. I heard, you correct.
The woman, she's not half the woman, not half the candidate Hillary Clinton was.
No, and it just
not even close. And because Hillary Clinton was a hell of a strong candidate, who, yes, she had a lot of baggage, but Hillary Clinton was certainly, a very strong candidate to go up against. And Kamala Harris is not even almost near Hillary Clinton level. Hillary Clinton's elite as far as a politician who does everything by the books, but, they did everything on that campaign correct. The only problem was they went conventional on an unconventional presidential candidate, Trump. Trump was nothing like we've ever seen. And they didn't go and, get the strategy to where it should have been. And I think that's why Biden won in 2020, because he went down in the trenches with Trump. Through his own malarkey and all this stuff,
he really went into the trenches
behind a barn and beat you up and all. Remember when he said all that stuff? I mean,
and look, this is what I think they're trying to do with Harris right now. They're trying to beat him in the trenches while in the basement.
She'll take Trump to Compton and whip him. I mean,
yeah. Well, look. Before we wrap this up, I do want to ask you a question though, because I think like it did 2 months ago. Now, granted, they had Biden in office. I mean, Biden was running. There was a lot. Think about it, Kelby. 2 months ago, Biden was running.
Yeah.
And it was just, the political spectrum has changed so much. Donald Trump, and look, this was not staged or anything like that. He got a bump in the polls. A lot of people were saying, yeah, we're going to go vote for him. This time around, and unfortunately, it happened before I remember I jumped live quick. This time, like, oh man, they did it again. And we're making a video. I made a video for this morning. Does this help Donald Trump in some way, shape, or form? Or did people see this before? Oh, they're going again for him and we're just going to vote for him and not say anything?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I really don't know. It'll be interesting to see that there was a poll, which is why, look, if you're reading a poll, by tomorrow, it'll be outdated.
Yep.
So don't go on the polls, right? I mean, it'll be different. It'll change. We talked in depth about in episode 1 of our show about the polling. You also have to take a look at, if the polling was done properly, right? I mean, did they oversample Democrats? Did they oversample Republicans? What's the margin of error? that new CNN poll, the headline read, Harris is beating Trump and all this stuff, but she's all within that 5. There was a 4.9 margin of error.
Yeah.
So technically, it's a toss-up because it could swing either way. So don't put much faith in the polls. I would just say maybe a tracking poll or something closer to election day. It's going to be a close election. It's going to be an election where we probably won't find out the results on election night. You'll have an idea, but I don't think you'll know on election night. Pennsylvania's already said that you're not going to know on election night.
That scares me. I'm just saying that scares me.
My question is why?
Yeah.
Why aren't we going to know what's the holdup? But I think we have to be very.
I will tell you this though.
Cautious about that. But will it go up in the polls? I do think Trump will probably have a slight bump in the polls, and I just think it's going to validate and encourage everybody to continue to go and continue their plan on going vote. And I think they're going to say, well, why they want this guy out of the race so bad, and they're willing to potentially murder him for it. Yeah. I'm just saying that's what the average voter might be thinking, what is really going on? And to be honest with you, the alphabet soup in the government, right? The FBI, the CIA, and all this stuff. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time they had something to do with something like this. I think everything should be on the table.
Well, let's
consider everything. Consider all of the possible things that might be going on. With all of this stuff. I mean, the guy is alive, so we get to. I don't know how long. Like they did with the guy who killed Kennedy. He wasn't alive much longer after he was taken into custody. So we will see how all of this goes, but you just got to be cautious of everything and just go and vote.
Go vote. And this is the thing too. This is the difference with the Butler incident in Pennsylvania. The Secret Service took that man out. And look, thank God for a witness. Thank God for a witness that saw this man running out the bush and decided, I'm going to take my cell phone. This don't look right. I'm going to take a picture of the guy, and I'm going to take a picture of his license plate. By the time they caught him, he was already in the next county.
Yeah.
So
look, if you see something, say something. That's the best phrase that you could think of. And also, look, you have other countries, Iran and all these other countries that are literally putting bounties on American officials. And Trump was one of them.
Yep.
Nikki Haley was one of them.
Well, you remember the Butler after the Butler incident, they caught a guy. I think he was from Saudi Arabia. I'm not 100% sure with that. Either Iran or Saudi Arabia.
I don't know if the Saudis would want to kill Trump. That's interesting, but
it was somebody from one of them nations, Arab nation.
I think it was Iran.
It probably was Iran. Iran or Saudi, one of them. I think
we unfroze billions of dollars, which I don't know why would we do that,
but Iran. Now, this guy was caught. And they found out, hey, his instructions were hire somebody to take out Trump and leave the country the day before, so you are not red flagged for it. And the guy still got red flagged. And all of a sudden the next day, the Butler happened. So, again, this guy is the attempted assassin. He's in jail now. And he's probably going to be in jail for a very, very long time.
Oh, yeah.
He, and...
the Gitmo.
Huh?
Sim the Gitmo.
Yeah. But with that being said, that's going to wrap up this show. But before we do that, we're going to make an announcement tonight. Once again, me and Kelby will be doing election night coverage on November 5th. We usually go from 7 to 10, unless like the last election, it went really well and we went an hour later, but this time we both got to go to work the next day. But yeah, Kelby, I'm excited, man.
On Saturday.
yeah, they should do national elections on a Saturday. But no, Kelby going. But that, man, this will be our third time getting together for an election to talk about it. I really enjoy doing them with you. Great 4 hours. We're probably gonna line up some guests. I'm looking forward to it. What about you, my friend?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well. You know, we're going to work out the logistics and all that stuff. You know, it's been fun. I mean, we're going to do 2 episodes next week for my show. And, you know, it takes a lot to get these things on track. I think February I was supposed to, you know, start my show, and then, you know, everything just started happening. We're finally able to launch it. And I got a good co-host, which is, so now I got to do half the work. That's the only reason why I wanted a co-host, because now I have to do half the work and use half my brain, you know, because I only got, you can only do so much in there. But, you know, but I'm looking forward to it. And it's going to be an interesting race. Although I may have a new client, I don't know how much of election night I will be able to participate in, because I might be over there, but maybe we can do a live on location thing. Maybe, you know, the logistics, that's what we need to talk about. But I think you would, if I get that contract signed, Isaac, you're going to really like my new client.
Hey.
I can't tell you who.
I know, you can't tell me who.
You know him, though. You do know him.
I have an idea who it is. I'm just saying, I have an idea who it is. I need to reach out to him to see if he will come on this show.
I'm sure he would.
Oh yeah, especially if I have his number, I know he would answer my phone calls.
If you don't have it, I'll give it to you.
I hear you. But yeah,
he'll do any show. I promise you.
But you know, election night, I'm expecting
your show before too.
Yes, if it's the same person I'm thinking of, yes, we have. Let me just say it like this: he's probably running for Congress, huh?
No, you're very close.
I'm very close. All right, we're gonna talk after in post production. But no, I think it's gonna be a very interesting night, Kelby. We're gonna have our maps open. We're probably you usually run that part of the program with the election maps and everything like that, and showing the polls.
You know, and I wish we were together in 2020, because I would have shown you or explained to you. And then you would have said, "Oh no, then it cannot be rigged," because, you know, we'd have looked at the data come in and you know.
Well, and look, this is what, you know, going back to Pennsylvania. That's why I'm scared, because, you know, a lot of people have these ideas
about Pennsylvania. He's not gonna be president. There's just no.
Well, look,
really no way around it.
Going today. Maybe we can do a show before that to discuss this.
Absolutely.
You know, if he wins Georgia and North Carolina, he has a chance. But he has to break the blue wall. He has to win Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, or Michigan, even with Nevada and Arizona. If he pulls up,
he's not gonna win Nevada.
I don't think he wins Nevada. He like you said, he has a chance to win Arizona, and this is where he has to push the issue on the border, and he has to push the issue on that stuff. But again, if you don't win Georgia, it's out of the race.
No, I don't think he does. I don't think he can win Arizona, because of the simple fact is Kerry Lake is running for Senate, and who's absolutely screwing us in that lady right there is just horrible.
I'm gonna say this though. If he wins Arizona, I see Kerry Lake winning. The reason I say that, the reason, listen to me and how I'm saying is,
she's trailing 10 points, like over 10 points.
But this is where I'm going to come to the point. You know how it is. Now that plays a big point too. If she's trailing 10 points, that hurts Donald Trump.
But Trump is not exactly my point. Exactly.
So, but
Trump is not trailing, so that means people are going to vote for Trump and people are going to vote for the Democrat.
So they could split the vote, but this is why I say that, you know, if people go down ballot and say, look, we're going to vote for Trump, and you know this, Kelby, every 4 years we have a presidential election, record numbers come out to vote in every state. And when it's an off election, like in 2022, when we did our election coverage on the congressional side, you know, we were frustrated. You remember that? We were frustrated. How are these people not voting? And the numbers were just so low. You have to, you know, that's why I say if people go there and say we're going to vote for Trump and just hit the R's down the line, I could see Kerry Lake coming out, especially if Trump's tied and if Trump would carry Arizona. But again, there is that possibility of a split vote too, because there might be some informed voters and they don't like what Kerry Lake does. On this point with Kerry Lake, though, if she loses this Senate election, she should not get near a GOP race again, because she's bad karma. And, you know, if it's her that makes us lose this election for president, God help us.
Yeah, I mean, she's always at Mar-a-Lago instead of campaigning in Arizona, so I don't really think she was somewhere.
I think she's running on Trump's coattails, and we already seen that. That's not a good policy. You have to present yourself.
I will refrain from saying what I want to say because of her. We're trying to lower the rhetoric, but she's definitely a sycophant of Trump, and she's obsessed, obviously, with Trump. And it's a weird thing, and there's no way in hell that she should have been the nominee after her performance for governor, and losing to Katie Hobbs. She says she didn't lose for real. I mean, dude, you've lost all your court cases. Okay. I mean,
and those court cases went a lot more than Trump's, because Trump can say, look, they can say, look, it wasn't on standing. Trump's correct on that. 60 cases, they all said he wasn't on standing. And the only one that was going to go through with Supreme Court,
standing because Rudy Giuliani and every other wacko said, you know what, Judge, I have no evidence for you. And then they went in front of a camera and said, you know what, there's mountains of evidence. But yet they said there was, but why he didn't say it.
But going back to the point though, Carrie Lake had the evidence. She said she had the evidence, and she still lost the case. So that shows, hey, at least you went further than Trump on that. And that's a debate we could have another time. We do.
Yeah, I mean, look, she's going to lose. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. And it's going to hurt Trump. And just because you say nice things about Trump, that doesn't necessarily mean you should be given the blessing to go and run for office. They had a good, strong candidate who lost the primary to that moron, and who could have beat the pretty progressive congressman running for the Senate. So, they've the MAGA movement, unfortunately, has managed to produce 2 Democrats, senators in Georgia, and have repeatedly put us in a bad position in Georgia. And I don't think it's going to be a cakewalk for Trump in Georgia either.
No, see, one poll I saw, he was up by 5, but again, you have all these polls that are different. I haven't seen the Real Clear Politics average. I think he was up by 1 or 2.
Georgia too.
That's what I'm saying. It was like 1 or 2 Trump's way, but Trump was winning Georgia the last time and he lost it, according to the polls. This is why I don't trust polls.
I mean, the thing is with, I think if it had been Biden, he'd have had a really good chance to say, you know what, Georgia, it's all of ours. But I think with a stronger candidate, which a stronger candidate considering Joe Biden, with Kamala Harris, I would think North Carolina could be in play too. We'll just have to see. I mean, the excitement certainly is. She's running an optimistic, hope and change Obama campaign.
Yeah. Well, and this is the only thing.
With her, one more thing. The thing is with her, though, she's running a conventional campaign against an unconventional person. That debate last week was conventional. It was Hillary Clinton all the way. It was, I'm going to be nice. I'm going to throw data at people. I'm going to say all these things. I'm going to be optimistic. So I'm going to come in with policy, versus somebody who said, well, you know what? They're eating dogs and cats, right? So there is a huge difference on that. You have to insult. You have to throw, punches with Trump. You cannot just go and say, oh, well, we raised the economy by 2% and the GDP was blah, blah, blah. You cannot do that with him, because there's a huge entertainment factor with him. He had us laughing because we watched it and we reacted to it after. There was a few things where it was just funny. He said, you remember that? Or when he told her, be quiet, I'm talking.
Like I said, the clip that to me probably went more viral than anything. He's like, she had all these policies. She flip-flopped. Yeah, she's coming to my policy. I even thought about giving her a MAGA hat. And I'm like, dude,
but Biden will wear one though.
Yeah, but I was supposed to talk about that. I was supposed to have a whole story. I couldn't do a show yesterday. I had a whole show lined up. Unfortunately, I was like, well, I'm going to do it Sunday. And of course, Sunday happens. Now we're here on a Monday morning.
Biden he was probably having a good day, because you know how the dementia patients to have the good days and all that stuff. And he was probably having the good days. Like, you know what? I'm going to have a little fun. And I'm going to
He didn't think about the memes that were coming. Now, yeah, you know what? I laughed when that guy gave him the hat, and he's like, "Hey, you want my autograph?" And Biden's like, "Hell no, I don't want your autograph." Anyway, Kelby, we got a few more minutes. Go ahead and plug your show, my friend, and where people can find you.
Yeah, so we're on Spreaker, which is a platform. We're on Spotify, iHeart Radio, podcast, Apple Podcasts, of course. So we were going to be a video podcast like Isaac's, but you know what? It's just too much. We have to wait till the big money comes in, then we can hire Isaac to produce the show. But you know what we're going to do, Isaac? Instead, we're going to do clips on social media. So if you want to see us, we'll have clips of the show, and of course we'll put it on YouTube. We have our YouTube page, but we like more of the audio anyway. You know, if you're listening to a podcast, you know, I said it, you're listening to it. You don't really watch them. You know, there's not many platforms that support video, you know, podcasts anyway. They come through as audio. And we're just a fun show that we you know, talk about all kinds of things. We have a question of the day. Primarily, it's going to focus on politics. It's just because that's what I know. I don't know much else. But we're going to, you know, as we, you know, evolve, we're going to have a variety of things to, you know, talk about. You know, but the news of the day will follow the podcast. I mean, we'll follow the, you know, whatever we need to talk about is what we'll talk about. You know, nothing's really off limits. And working on some guests to come on. I know Isaac's going to come on soon and give us some opinions.
I like how you said that, opinions.
What's that?
I said, I like how you said opinions, you know?
Opinions. He's going to have some opinions. But no, I mean, it's fact-based opinion. You know, I like to do my research, and I'm really a planner, and I really like to research, you know, because I don't want to lead people to something that's false. And if I say something that's false, I, you know, own up to it. My co-host Joe, he's a little new to the podcast business and all that good stuff. So he's kind of trying to find his voice, and you know, he doesn't know a lot about all of like the tech stuff, and I don't really know about the tech stuff too. So that's why I got to text Isaac a few times, like, "Hey, what the heck is going on? You know, this is not working, or this is flashing and it doesn't want to start." You know, so you know, my little consultant over there, Isaac,
underpaid and unappreciated. No, I'm messing. You're not the only one, man. You're not the only one. I help a lot of people out.
I'm gonna give you 2 tickets to the bash.
Hey, I'm coming
to the bash.
I'm coming. Give me them tickets. I am speaking.
You and Donna can come to the bash.
I am speaking. It was supposed to be last weekend. Unfortunately, it got canceled, but it got pushed back to October 5th and 6th. I will be speaking at the MAGA Fest in Kinder, Louisiana. So our friend William Wallace, remember he was with us on William Wallace. He reached out to us, William Wallace for America, and he said, "Look, I want you to be a speaker." I'm thinking, hey, you know, I'm one of the openers. I'm gonna prop up because one of our good friends is speaking at this event as well. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be an opener, and he texts.
Who's speaking? Who's gonna be at the event?
Well, Elbert's gonna be there. Elbert's hanging out with us that day. William's gonna be speaking. There's over 40 speakers, including myself.
What day that is?
October 5th and 6th. And I can send you all the information, guys. If you want to, I think it's $125 to come hang out with us. So I don't know what I'm speaking on yet. I have a good idea, but hey, you know, I'm moving up in the world.
Good. Yeah, that's good. Wow.
But I'm gonna hold you there. I got video evidence now for the bash. Which, talk about the bash, man. You know, local people, go ahead and check this event out. We worked it last year, and it was a great event.
Yeah. So it's gonna be October 23rd, Wednesday, October 23rd, at Pat's Chaffalite Club in Henderson, Louisiana. They're back and open and running again after their tornado kind of messed them up a little bit.
They gave them a twister.
We're excited to be back because, you know, at one point we were like, okay, well, you know, are we going to be able to have it there or not? Because we had to kind of look at some venues, but Harvey is like, nope, we're going to be back and running. Don't worry about it. So it was, great. Good local place. We're doing things a little different though, Isaac. So we're going to have music. So less speakers, more music, more party. So we're the grand old party. So why not have a party?
Hey, and look,
at the back of the basin.
You got a good Cajun band coming out there, Hunter Corville,
Hunter
a mutual
Corville,
friend.
Cajun Fever.
Yeah, a mutual friend of ours. I live right down the road from Hunter, so
yeah. So we got him booked and his good band. I haven't heard Hunter in forever. We was going to hear him at the Crawfish Festival, and then I think it rained that day, so we didn't go. But great singer. Billy Nungasser will be there. Beckett Bro, Senator Guillory, I think, is going to be there. John Paul Couson, Julie Quinn is running for PSC. Who else we have? Working on hopefully trying to get Clay Higgins there. We're still working on that.
Well,
Fingers crossed.
And look, man, maybe one day I'll move up to where I will be speaker at the bash.
Hey, you give me $500 and you'll talk all you want.
I can't give you 5 cents right now. You giving me tickets to the event?
Oh, Blake Miguez will be there, and
our good friend, yeah,
Bo Buildo or something.
Don't you have? Yeah, isn't Chad Boyer going over there too?
Chad Boyer will be there as well, and we're working on some other ones. To speak. Tickets are $60. Single tickets, couples are $120, and you can get them at Eventbrite or just go to our Facebook page, St. Martin Parish Republican Party, and you'll see the event there with the link there. So we're looking forward to it. Come eat, drink, and have and dance. That's the theme of the event. Eat, drink, politics, dance. You do whatever you want. So it's going to really be fun, and hopefully, this concept works. We're changing it a little bit because we had all the speakers last time and the year before, and we've been profitable ever since. And most importantly, and I'll finish with this: the money. We're kind of like getting the money, and we're saving the money, and then when we're ready and have enough money to do what we need to do, we're going to help elect local Republicans within the parish. These local campaigns, they don't have any money, barely have money for signs, all this stuff. So if we can help recruit people to run, because there are a lot of politicians in the parish who should be a Republican, they're not. And whether it's on the Brobridge Council, the Parish Council, Henderson Council, you name it, the school board, there are a lot of people who can be elected as a Republican, but choose to either run as a Democrat or an independent. And we have a real opportunity to start influencing that, but we have to raise money for that. So that's what that money goes for. And of course, we're going to do some voter registration drives coming up, and just spread the message of conservatism, and what our values are, and try to get more people involved.
Let's try to grow the party, man. And look, remember a while back I was saying I was thinking about getting out of this party, but I think the party has had more good apples than bad apples.
Look, I mean, I've stuck it out, and I don't agree with a lot of stuff that the Republican Party has kind of turned to. Right? I'm at the end of the day, I have some libertarian borderline views as far as the government. I don't want the government involved in a lot of things that it's involved in currently. But I'm a conservative. I mean, I'm a conservative, even though they call me Rhino and all this stuff. I don't subscribe to some of the populism that is kind of taken over in the party. I don't agree with it. But I believe at the end of the day, when you compare the two, at the end of the day, it's a two-party system. You're either a Democrat or you're Republican if you want to, do anything in politics. In most states, this one, you got to be a Republican. So when you compare the two, you are certainly, there's a clear contrast. You have one that freedom, right? We value freedom, the pursuit of happiness. And you have the other ones who, have all the abortions you want, do anything you want. there is a clear contrast, and not to get into none of that, but there's a clear contrast into where my values are, pro-life, pro-Second Amendment, economic freedom, versus the other side, who now they've kind of rebranded. They're the party of freedom. On what planet, how many joints you have to smoke to think that the Democrat Party is the party of freedom? Okay. I mean, that's just insane to even think about that. And now, I think Kamala Harris has basically said her campaign's all about freedom. It's only about freedom if you want an abortion. That's the bottom line. Okay. That's the only freedom they care about, reproductive freedom. So let's get that straight. But, we're trying to do good things in St. Martin Parish. We have a new chairman, we have a new vice chairman, we have a new treasurer, we have a new secretary on our committee, and we all work great. And, we have some very interesting and good discussions. The first Thursday of every month at Pat's, usually it's at Pat's, although we are going around town, around the parish, and going to other places. I think in December we'll be at Crawfish Town, and we'll do like a little social. But we're trying to do good things, and we're growing. We're getting things back on track since I've taken over, and we've had increased audience, and people want to come to our event again, and nobody's fussing, and we have order. So, if you know, you know.
Yeah,
if you know, you know. But I've kind of, come back in there and really, because I was vice chair, but you really can't do nothing vice chair. So I'm the chairman now.
You've been promoted.
I've been promoted. Yes, it was a hostile takeover.
That's a story for another time. So
if you want the scoop, we can definitely do that next episode.
Yeah, we'll do that subscribers only though.
Yeah,
you pay to listen to what we got to say.
Exclusive content.
Yeah, exclusive content.
Look, okay, we'll just leave it there.
We'll leave it right there. Kelby, thank you for coming on, man. I'll see you in a couple of seconds.
Okay.
All right, everybody. That was Kelby Dago from Kelby and Jeau Show on Spotify, Apple, and all them good places. Go ahead and check them out. Great show. Listen to the last 2 episodes. They got one coming up. Kelby did go into an area where I'm probably going to be discussing on the next episode. Trump got his problems, but Harris is worse. That's probably what I'm going to be talking about next, unless something major happens. Again, then I got to call Kelby and probably even call Dr. Michael to come on and help us out and talk about all this stuff. But until next time, you be blessed. You be encouraged. Remember, Jesus Christ is King, and he's coming back, and he's coming back soon. So give him your heart and let him be the Lord of your life, and you will be with him one day very soon. Until next time, you be blessed. You be encouraged. You have a good one.